Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Whether we want to live long or we want to commit suicide, both these desires indicate a common factor. In both the cases, body identification is the foundation. When we want to live long, means what? My body should live long. And when I want to commit suicide, then my body should die. Therefore, to get out of this body identification, the only way is to reduce the burden of any kind of desires on our head. Lesser the desire we entertain, to that extent our body disidentification is happening. After we practice it for a longer period of time, then we continue living in this world, but then there are no obsessions, there is no duragraha. We are able to adjust and accept the things and beings as they are. Because if I am not much identified with my body, naturally I will not be taking the other people also as body and therefore take it lightly. Now the second step comes on the spiritual path, and that second step is, if I am not the body, even theoretically, okay, we have not experienced, but theoretically we accepted. Really, when I am not identified with the body as in the dream or deep sleep or samadhi, yet I continue to exist, agreed. So, my existence is not dependent on the body, but the body's existence is dependent on me. Theoretically clear. Then the law of karma tells us we have done something good or bad in the last life, we are doing something good or bad in this life, and in the next life we will suffer because of that. Therefore, our existence is independent of this body. After we are convinced of this, then a question kindles in the mind. Then who am I? See, if I am not the body, then who am I? When this question is born in the mind, then the study of the scriptures become very obvious and simple. Then it is not difficult. So we are told that if you are not the body, then who are you? So I am embodied. Now this embodied, is this one per body or one reality expressing through all the bodies? It is here Bhagavad Gita chapter 13 comes into play. From 13th chapter onwards, knowledge is expounded. First 6 chapters, Bhagavan talks about karma related to I who has taken myself to be the body, so an individual. Then the next 6 chapter help us through devotion to reduce the poisonous aspect of the I through devotion. And yet the I remains. Now the third step comes, the path of knowledge or inquiry. Now here Bhagavan Krishna starts. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidhiyate etadyo vittitam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadvidaha kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Arjun, the body is a house, a place, kshetra, and the knower of the kshetra is kshetrajna. So what will be the first understanding? As many bodies or as many houses, so many householders. So as many bodies, so many kshetrajna, the jiva. But in the next verse, Bhagavan says, don't misunderstand, because I alone, kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. I am alone expressing through all the bodies, all the people. Now, if you go still deeper in our understanding, we will come to know, so now there are three things. One is the body, second is the expression through the body, and third is the one which is expressing through the body. So the body, expression, and that which is expressing. To understand this, take this common example. Bulb is the body, light is the expression, electricity is the one which is expressing. Now, is this light one per bulb, or only one principle that electricity is expressing as light through any bulb? So it is expression, it is not reality. Reality is electricity. See? But what happens? Instead of inquiring about this, who is this soul we are told about? And the moment we start this inquiry, our whole perspective of life changes. Therefore, we are told that when you are sitting quiet, collect yourself, do a little bit pranayam, do a little bit chanting Lord's name, so that the mind is collected. Pranayam helps us in loosening the grip of the mind on the body. Then chanting the Lord's name for a few moments helps us in channelizing our mind. Such a mind is now employed in inquiry. The inquiry begins. Mind expresses through the eyes as vision. The same mind expresses hearing ability through the ears. So what is a vision? Structural eye plus functional eye plus mind. These three things put together is a vision. If the structural eye is no more capable of expressing the mind as vision, then the blindness happens. So when the blindness happens, the world of colors and forms disappears, the vision disappears, but the mind remains intact. Nothing happens to the mind. So, what will be the first understanding? Objects of this world are nothing but the sense organs grossified. So, vision is subtle cause and the colors and forms are gross and effect. So the cause alone is the effect. Cause expresses as the effect. Then mind is subtle. Mind itself expresses as the vision through the eyes. The mind is subtle and vision is gross. Then third step, consciousness itself is expressing as mind. So mind is gross and consciousness is subtle. When this process is understood and worked upon, there is no place for I versus you. In this process, the efforts and the one who is putting the efforts both disappear. See? And it is for this purpose we were told, listen to the silence. And don't talk to yourself. Listening to the silence means we have dropped the ears, because ears can hear only the sounds, not their absence. By this, all the sense organs are included. So we make absence as an object of knowledge. Absence of sound. So all the organs of perception are rejected and we have come to the mind. The second thing, do not talk to yourself. Speech is organ of action. So by this, we drop both organs of action and perception. Now we are in the mind. Now, after having come to the mind, the old habit of worrying about the future may gather momentum. And for that purpose, we are told, do not talk to yourself. When we talk to ourselves, it is always with a reference to future. So to get established in this, we learn to play that mind is the reality and not the thoughts. So like the gross space supports the gross world without getting influenced by them, similarly the mind space supports the thoughts but doesn't get influenced by any thought. So now we are playing Chittakash or mind space. Like the gross space has no beginning, end, or any modification, and there is only one gross space. Similarly, there is only one mind space. And this mind space is not touched by any thought. So we remain indifferent. By this, we have dropped the shape and the size of the body from the mind. Now the mind is not in the body, but the body is in the mind. Like the world is in the space. So no reference for the mind to think, because the shape and the size of the body is dropped. Do not try to see or hear or experience anything. Being is the experience. There is no experience of anything. From here we enter the ultimate space called as Chidakasha, the conscious space. Like in the gross space there is a gross world. In the mind space there is a thought world. In the conscious space, Chidakasha, the world is that of the waker, the waking world with the waking experiences. The dream world with the dreamer and his dream experiences. So Chidakasha supports the waker with his world, but doesn't get influenced by the waker and his experiences. Supports the dream world, but doesn't get influenced by the dreamer and his world. In this manner, this conscious space is the solid space where other than consciousness nothing else is. There is no place for jiva or the soul. This objectless awareness dissolves the apparent notion of one soul per body. When we play gross space, mind space, and conscious space, one thing, if it happens, then we are on the right track. And that thing is the concept of inside and outside disappears. When we practice gross space, the earlier experience, I am inside the body, the world is outside, disappears. When we practice mind space, the concept that there are thoughts inside the mind and the world is outside disappears. When we practice Chidakasha, conscious space, it is an experience of solid space. Solid because there is none other than the consciousness. Space because it contains the potential world. Recognition of this being and knowing as one the Jiva Bhava disappears. Meaning, life will be lived as earlier, but now the vision has changed. No more living as body, but functioning through the body. No more living as mind, but functioning through the mind. No more living as somebody, but living as life through all the waker, dreamer, etc. The secret of playing meditation is there will be no element of success or failure in meditation. Because we are not doing meditation and there is no meditator born. Because we are just playing. Like we play with the children, we don't have issue of victory or defeat. Having established in Chidakasha, thereafter the life changes. Life expresses without becoming anybody. Activities continue without the birth of a doer. Experiences happen without an experiencer. If you are observed, the body has become still, the mind is quiet, the waker of the waking state is dissolved. And what remains is pure consciousness. Here we don't talk of any kind of good or bad experiences. We don't talk of success or failure. Just being without becoming. Take deep breath 2-3 times slowly. Now the body identification has taken place. Move the toes and fingers which were still. Now the notion that I am inside the body, someone separate from others. The notion of individuality born, and the samsara begins. Offer this experience at the feet of the Lord. Don't make any memory of this. If a memory is made, we were just far away from the truth. We don't remember ourselves. We know ourselves. Memory is at the level of the mind. Knowledge is trans-mind. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.